The stars looked different from every planet, but Zara Vex paid them no mind. She had seen too many skies across too many worlds to care anymore. Her sleek ship slipped through Earth's atmosphere, cloaking systems ensuring no human detection systems noticed her arrival. Zara checked her weapons one last time. 3 plasma daggers hidden in her forearm sheaths, 1 phase shift pistol strapped to her thigh, various poisons embedded in false fingernails. She wouldn't need most of these tools. She never did. But 200 years of survival had taught her to always prepare for unlikely outcomes. The communications panel blinked. Zara pressed her blue-tinged finger against it, and a shadowy figure appeared. "The contract details have been transferred to your account," the figure said. "Half now, half upon confirmation." Zara nodded. She never spoke during these exchanges. Her reputation as the Shadow meant clients knew her rules. "The target possesses information that could destabilize our interests in the Sol system," the figure continued. "Dr. Alan Pierce, human, male, scientist. Your extraction window is 48 Earth hours." The transmission ended. Zara pulled up the file on Alan Pierce. Humans were relatively new to the galactic community. Their planet had only gained Confederation recognition 20 years ago, yet they were already causing problems. This particular human had apparently developed some kind of defensive technology that threatened her employer's plans. The ship's computer displayed images of a man with brown hair and glasses. He looked ordinary, like countless other targets she had eliminated across 37 different species. Nothing about him suggested special caution was needed. Zara activated her biological camouflage system. Her blue Silurian skin rippled, then transformed to match human coloration. Her third eye closed and vanished beneath a flawless forehead. Within moments, she appeared completely human, a woman with short black hair and forgettable features. The landing was smooth. Zara's ship, disguised as a delivery drone, touched down in a wooded area outside Portland. The location was perfect, close enough to reach her target quickly, but far enough from population centers to avoid witnesses. She stepped out into Earth's atmosphere. The air was thicker than she preferred, but her enhanced lungs adjusted quickly. Night had fallen, giving her natural advantages beyond her camouflage. Silurians evolved as nocturnal hunters, and even with all her modifications, Zara's night vision remained exceptional. She moved through the forest silently, carrying only what she needed for this simple job. The target lived in a residential area, a foolish choice that made her work easier. Most beings with dangerous knowledge surrounded themselves with security. This human apparently felt safe on his backwater planet. Reaching the edge of the forest, Zara could see houses spread across gently sloping hills. Lights glowed in windows as humans went about their evening routines, unaware of the predator in their midst. She checked the coordinates again. Alan Pierce's home was a modest structure 3 streets away. Zara deployed 4 surveillance drones, each no larger than an Earth insect. They would map the house's interior, identify security systems, and locate the target. She found a sheltered position to wait, her enhanced patience making hours feel like moments. The drones returned with comprehensive data. The house had basic security systems, trivial to bypass. Her target was alone in what appeared to be a workspace, surrounded by diagrams and equipment. The optimal approach would be through the rear entrance, then a quick strike while he was distracted by his research. Zara began moving toward the house. This would be her 342nd successful elimination. By tomorrow, she would be off this planet, and Dr. Alan Pierce would be nothing but another completed contract. A noise stopped her. One of her drones detected movement, a small heat signature entering the workspace. Zara checked the feed and froze. A child had entered the room. A small human girl had wrapped her arms around Dr. Pierce, who lifted her up with a smile. Zara frowned. The file had not mentioned offspring. Zara pulled back her drones and retreated to a safer distance. Children complicated missions, not because she had any moral objections. Zara had eliminated targets with families before, but because children were unpredictable. They noticed things adults missed. They asked questions. They disrupted routines. She settled into an abandoned garden, shed 2 properties away, and reviewed the new information. The child was female, approximately 8 Earth years old. The house had 3 bedrooms, suggesting no other occupants. No signs of a mother or partner were visible in the surveillance images. Zara would need to adjust her approach. She would wait until morning when the child left for educational facilities. Most human offspring followed strict schedules. Dawn broke across the neighborhood. Zara watched through her drones as Dr. Pierce prepared breakfast for his daughter. Their movements suggested an established routine. The girl ate quickly, then collected a colorful bag while her father packed a smaller container with food. "Lily, don't forget your science project," Dr. Pierce said, handing the girl a model of what appeared to be a planetary system. "Thanks, Dad," the girl replied. "Will you pick me up today?" "Yes, sweetheart. I'm working from home all day." This was useful information. Zara recorded their conversation, noting the child's name and the father's plans. Once the child departed, she would have hours to complete her mission and leave Earth before anyone noticed. Zara watched Dr. Pierce walk his daughter to the end of the street where several children gathered. A yellow vehicle collected them. Perfect. Now she could proceed. She waited 15 minutes to ensure he wouldn't leave, then directed her smallest drone to enter the house through an upstairs window. The drone would map any changes since her night scan and confirm the target's location. Something unexpected happened. As the drone passed through the upstairs hallway, Dr. Pierce emerged from her room, looked directly at it, and frowned. Before Zara could react, he grabbed a book from a shelf and swatted the drone. The video feed went dead. Zara blinked in surprise. No ordinary human should have noticed her drone. They were designed with advanced Silurian technology, using adaptive camouflage, similar to her own biological systems. Even most security experts across the galaxy couldn't detect them. Yet this simple Earth scientist had spotted it immediately. Zara needed to understand how. In 2 centuries of operations, no one had ever detected her surveillance before the strike. She checked her remaining drones. They showed Dr. Pierce examining the destroyed device with professional curiosity rather than fear. He placed it in a small container and took it to his workspace. Using tools, he began to disassemble it, making notes on a computer. His movements were precise, his focus intense. This human was more capable than her employer had indicated. Zara decided a direct approach was too risky without understanding how he had detected her technology. She needed to gather more intelligence through different means. The neighborhood offered a solution. Zara had observed several new residents moving into nearby houses. She could pose as another newcomer to get close to her target without arousing suspicion. She returned to her ship and prepared her human disguise more carefully. She selected clothing similar to what female humans in the area wore: practical pants, a simple top, and a light jacket. She adjusted her facial features to appear friendly but forgettable. By mid-afternoon, Zora had rented a house 3 doors down from Dr. Pierce, using credits and false identification her network provided. She arranged for basic furnishings to be delivered immediately. Her cover story was simple: a writer seeking a quiet place to work on a new book. As Zara arranged items in her temporary home to create the appearance of a settled resident, she kept one drone watching Dr. Pierce. He worked steadily in his lab, occasionally checking a communication device. At 3 o'clock, he left to collect his daughter from school. Zara decided this would be the perfect opportunity to introduce herself. New neighbors often greeted each other on this planet. The universe's greatest assassin placed a container of sweet baked goods on her counter, a traditional human welcoming gift, according to her research, and prepared to meet her target face to face. Zara watched as Dr. Pierce's vehicle returned with his daughter. They entered their house, the girl chattering excitedly about her day. Zara waited 30 minutes, then picked up the container of baked goods and walked to their door. She had killed diplomats, crime lords, and military leaders across 3 galactic sectors. A simple conversation with a human should require no effort. Yet she felt an unfamiliar tension as she pressed the doorbell. The door opened, and Dr. Pierce stood before her. He was taller than she expected, with kind eyes behind simple glasses. "Hello," Zara said, using the practiced smile she had observed in human interactions. "I'm Kate Miller. I just moved in down the street." Dr. Pierce's face lit up with genuine warmth. "Alan Pierce, welcome to the neighborhood." He extended his hand. Zara shook it, careful to maintain her human temperature. "I brought cookies," she said, offering the container. "That's very thoughtful. Please, come in for a minute. Lily and I were about to have some hot chocolate." The invitation surprised Zara. In most civilized systems, beings were cautious with strangers. Yet this human immediately welcomed her into his home, the home that contained his child. It made no sense from a security perspective. Inside, the house was modest but comfortable. Scientific journals and children's books shared space on shelves. Models of planets and stars hung from the ceiling of what appeared to be a common area. "Lily, we have a visitor," Alan called. The girl appeared from another room, holding a tablet displaying mathematical equations far beyond normal human children's education level. When she saw Zara, she smiled without fear or suspicion. "Hi, I'm Lily. Are you the new neighbor Dad saw moving in?" "Yes," Zara replied. "I'm Kate. Dad says you brought cookies. Did you make them yourself?" "No," Zara admitted. "I'm not good at baking." Alan laughed. "Neither am I. That's why we appreciate them even more. Would you like some hot chocolate to go with them?" Before Zara could respond, he was already heading to the kitchen. This behavior contradicted all her research on human self-preservation instincts. Even among the most trusting species in the galaxy, this level of immediate acceptance was unusual. Alan returned with 3 mugs. They sat at a small table, and Lily immediately began asking questions. "What do you do, Ms. Kate?" "I'm a writer," Zara said, following her cover story. "What do you write about?" "Different worlds and the beings who live on them." This wasn't entirely false. Zara had extensive knowledge of many planets from her work. Alan looked interested. "Science fiction. Yes, I find other planets fascinating. Dad works on space stuff too," Lily announced proudly. Alan smiled. "Nothing as exciting as writing books. I'm developing shield technology for satellites." Zara knew this was only partially true. His work was far more significant. A defensive system that could protect the entire planet. The system that her employer wanted stopped. As they talked, Lily reached for a cookie and accidentally knocked over her hot chocolate. The liquid splashed onto Zara's arm. For a split second, the heat caused her camouflage to flicker, revealing a patch of blue skin. Alan jumped up to grab a towel. "I'm so sorry about that." "It's fine," Zara said quickly, covering her arm and willing her biological systems to stabilize. Neither human appeared to have noticed the momentary lapse. "Lily, be more careful," Alan said gently as he helped clean up. "Sorry, Ms. Kate," the girl said, looking genuinely distressed. Zara felt an odd sensation in her chest, something like discomfort, but different. "It's really nothing," she assured the child. As Alan invited her to stay for dinner, Zara realized something disturbing. For the first time in her 2-century career, she was reluctant to complete a contract. The thought of this small human growing up without her father created an unfamiliar feeling. Later, as she returned to her temporary home, Zara sent a message to her employer requesting a 48-hour extension. She told herself she needed more time to understand how Alan had detected her drone. But deep inside, Zara knew she was lying, even to herself. Zara paced in her temporary home. 3 days had passed since her first meeting with Alan and Lily. 3 days beyond her original deadline. Her employer was getting impatient. The communication panel on her wrist buzzed again. She ignored it. This was unprecedented behavior for her. The shadow never delayed. The shadow never hesitated. A small probe ship entered Earth's atmosphere that evening. landing silently in the woods near her ship. Zara knew what it meant. The Hegemony Corporation was checking on her progress. She sent a message claiming she was gathering critical intelligence on the target's research. It wasn't entirely false. She had learned much about Alan's work through their conversations. His shield technology was even more impressive than her employer realized. It could protect Earth from not just meteor strikes and solar flares, as the public believed, but also from targeted weapons systems used by major galactic powers. If fully deployed, it would make Earth surprisingly difficult to attack or control. No wonder the Hegemony wanted him eliminated. Zora had been invited to Alan's home twice more. Each time, she told herself she was simply maintaining her cover while looking for the right moment to complete her mission. Each time, she left without making any attempt. Last night, Lily had shown her a science project, a model of Alan's shield system made with colored paper and glitter. The child understood the basic principles of her father's complex work. She was clearly gifted, like him. Dad says this will keep everyone safe, Lily had explained. After what happened to Mom, he promised nothing bad would come from space again. Zora had looked questioningly at Alan. My wife was at the first contact center during the Proxima incident, he explained quietly. When the delegation's ship malfunctioned during landing, she was one of the 17 people who didn't make it out. Zora knew of this incident. It had been genuinely accidental, a rare case of equipment failure rather than intentional harm. But it had left this human alone to raise his offspring. Now, as her wrist panel buzzed yet again, Zora made a decision. She would complete one final surveillance of Alan's lab, then fulfill her contract tomorrow. She had delayed long enough. As darkness fell, she sent a drone to scan his house. The images showed Alan working late in his lab while Lily slept upstairs. Perfect timing. Then Zara noticed something alarming. A heat signature on the roof of a house across the street. A signature that matched the energy pattern of a draconian pulse rifle. Another assassin. The Hegemony must have grown tired of waiting and sent someone else. Someone less skilled but more obedient. Without thinking, Zara grabbed her weapons and ran toward Alan's house. The night air was cool against her face as she moved silently between shadows. She reached his yard just as the other assassin positioned for a shot through the lab window. The assassin was draconian, their scaled body barely visible against the night sky. They raised their weapon, aiming directly at Alan's head as he worked, unaware of the danger. Zara fired her phase-shift pistol. The shot hit the draconian's shoulder, causing them to fall from their position and crash onto the lawn. The noise was enough to alert Alan, who looked up from his work in confusion. The draconian assassin recovered quickly, turning their weapon toward Zora. She dodged the pulse blast and closed the distance between them, drawing one of her plasma daggers. The fight was brief but violent. The draconian was strong but lacked Zora's centuries of experience. She drove her dagger through a gap in their armor, and they fell, body dissolving as their emergency transport system activated, pulling them back to their ship. Zara turned to see Alan standing in his doorway, staring at her with shock. Behind him, Lily appeared in pajamas, rubbing her eyes sleepily. "Kate," Alan said, his voice filled with confusion. "What just happened? What was that thing?" Zara realized her camouflage had partially failed during the fight. Her blue skin was visible on her hands and face. Her cover was blown, and now she had two witnesses to her true nature. And worse, she had just attacked another assassin to protect her own target. Zara stood frozen, her mind racing through possible solutions. She could kill them both. She could use memory-altering toxins. She could vanish into the night and complete her mission another day. Instead, she stayed where she was, watching fear and confusion spread across Alan's face. "Get inside," she said finally. "There might be others." To her surprise, Alan didn't run or scream. He pulled Lily close and backed into the house, eyes never leaving Zora. He was afraid, but he was thinking, analyzing. Zara followed them inside, closing the door behind her. Her camouflage systems were trying to reset, patches of her skin shifting between blue and human tones. "You're not human," Alan said, stating the obvious. "No. And you're not a writer." "No." Lily peeked out from behind her father. "Are you an alien?" Zara nodded. "Cool," the child whispered. Alan didn't share his daughter's enthusiasm. "What was that thing outside? Why did you kill it? Why are you here?" Before Zara could answer, pain shot through her side. She looked down to see blue blood seeping through her clothing. The Draconian had wounded her during their fight. In the heat of battle, she hadn't noticed. Her legs gave way, and she collapsed onto the floor. Her camouflage systems failed completely, revealing her true form. Blue-scaled skin, 3 eyes, slender fingers with retractable claws. "You're hurt," Lily said, moving toward her before Alan caught her arm. "Stay back, Lily." "But Dad, she's bleeding." Alan hesitated, then approached Zara cautiously. "Who are you really? What do you want?" Zara tried to stand but couldn't. Her healing systems were working, but the Draconian's weapon had disrupted her cellular structure. She needed time to recover. "I'm Zara Vex," she said, deciding truth was her only option now. "I was sent to kill you." Alan's face paled. He pushed Lily further behind him. "But that creature outside was sent to kill you too," she continued. "When I delayed, my employer sent someone else." "Why would anyone want to kill me?" Alan asked. "I'm just a scientist working on defensive systems." "That's exactly why," Zara replied. "Your shield technology threatens powerful interests. If Earth can protect itself, it can't be controlled." Alan looked at her bleeding wound, then at his daughter, then back at Zara. Making a decision, he spoke to Lily. "Get the first aid kit from the bathroom. The big one." "Alan, your medical supplies won't help me," Zara said. "But my lab equipment might," he replied. "I analyzed that drone you sent. I know it wasn't Earth technology. I'm guessing you're not from around here either." Lily returned with a large medical case. Alan helped Zara to her feet and guided her to his laboratory. The pain made it difficult to walk, but she managed. She should kill him now, she thought. Instead, she found herself leaning on his shoulder for support. In the lab, Alan helped her onto a table. He examined her wound with scientific curiosity rather than disgust. "Your cellular structure is fascinating," he said, looking through a microscope at a sample of her blood. "It's trying to repair itself, but something is blocking it." "Draconian pulse weapons disrupt healing abilities," Zara explained. "It will pass eventually." Alan reached for several containers on his shelves. "I think I can help accelerate the process." As he worked, mixing compounds and checking readings on his equipment, Zara watched him with growing confusion. Why was he helping her? She had just admitted she came to kill him. "Why are you doing this?" she asked finally. Alan glanced at Lily, who was carefully organizing medical supplies nearby. "You saved our lives tonight. Whatever your original intentions, that counts for something." He applied a gel-like substance to her wound. The pain immediately began to ease. "Besides," he added more quietly, "you've had multiple opportunities to complete your mission. You didn't. I want to know why." Zara had no answer. She didn't understand it herself. Lily approached cautiously, looking at Zora's true form with interest rather than fear. "Can we still play checkers tomorrow, Miss Kate? Or do you prefer Ms. Zara now?" The simplicity of the question stunned the universe's greatest assassin into silence. Morning light filtered through the laboratory windows. Zara woke on a small cot Alan had set up for her. Her wound had mostly healed, though her side still ached. She sat up slowly, scanning the room. Alan was already awake, working at his computer. When he noticed her movement, he turned. "How are you feeling?" he asked. "Better," she replied. "Your treatment worked well." Alan nodded. "I combined some of my research compounds with what I learned from your drone technology. Your cellular structure is remarkable." Zara stood carefully, testing her strength. Where is Lily? Getting ready for school. I told her you needed rest. An awkward silence fell between them. Zara knew they were both thinking about the same thing. What happened next? They'll send more, she said finally. The hegemony doesn't give up easily. Elan rubbed his forehead. Who exactly is they? The Hegemony Corporation controls resources across 17 star systems. They've invested heavily in Earth's development since your planet joined the Confederation. Your shield technology threatens their control. My shields are just for protection, Alan argued. After what happened to Claire, my wife, I just wanted to make sure nothing from space could hurt us again. But that's exactly the problem, Zara explained. If Earth can protect itself, it can choose its own path. The hegemony prefers compliant partners. Alan's face hardened. So they sent you to kill me. Zora didn't deny it. I've never failed a contract before. What changed? The question made Zora uncomfortable. Assassins didn't discuss feelings. They completed missions. I need to check your security systems, she said, changing the subject. The hegemony will send an elite squad next. Alan seemed to understand she wouldn't answer his question. How much time do we have? A day, maybe less. He paced the lab, thinking. We should get Lily somewhere safe. No, Zara said firmly. They'll track her. They'll use her to draw you out. Staying together is safer. Alan looked surprised. You're staying to help us. I'm the reason you're in danger, Zara replied. But she knew it was more than that. Something about this human and his child had changed something fundamental inside her. Lily entered the lab, wearing school clothes and carrying her backpack. Morning, Dad. Morning, Ms. Zora. The child's casual greeting, as if blue three-eyed aliens were perfectly normal, almost made Zora smile. No school today, sweetheart, Alan said. We're having a home day. Lily looked between them. Because of the bad aliens. Alan shot a questioning look at Zora. I saw from my window, Lily explained. The one Ms. Zora fought had scales like a dinosaur. Zara nodded. Yes, because of them. More might come. Instead of showing fear, Lily's eyes lit up with excitement. Can you teach me how to fight them too? Lily, Alan exclaimed. What? Ms. Zora was awesome. Despite the serious situation, Zara felt an unfamiliar warmth in her chest. In 2 centuries, no one had ever called her awesome before. I'll teach you something better, she said. I'll show you how to use my weapons. Alan started to protest, but Zara cut him off. Not to fight, to understand. Knowledge is power, especially against superior forces. She opened a hidden compartment in her sleeve, removing several small devices. These are my tools. This one creates a shield, not unlike your father's technology, but personal-sized. This one disrupts electronic systems. This one can change molecular structures temporarily. Alan watched with growing interest as she explained each item. His scientific curiosity was stronger than his fear. Could these be integrated with my shield design? He asked, picking up one of the devices. Possibly, Zora replied. Your understanding of energy fields is actually quite advanced for human science. For the next few hours, they worked together. Alan shared his research while Zora explained her technology. Lily observed everything, asking surprisingly intelligent questions for her age. As they worked, Zora's communication panel buzzed repeatedly. She ignored it. The hegemony had surely declared her rogue by now. There was no going back. By mid-afternoon, they had modified several of Zora's weapons to work with Alan's shield prototype. It wasn't enough to protect the whole planet, but it might keep them alive through what was coming. Why are you helping us? Alan asked quietly while Lily was distracted with a small scanner. This time, Zora had an answer. Because for the first time in centuries, I found something worth protecting instead of destroying. Night fell over the neighborhood. Zora stood by the window, watching the empty street. Her enhanced vision could see heat signatures moving through the woods behind the houses. The hunter squad had arrived. "They're here," she said quietly. Alan looked up from his work. He had been making final adjustments to their defenses. "How many?" "6. All elite hunters." Zara turned to him. "Are you ready?" He nodded, though his hands trembled slightly. He wasn't a warrior. He was a scientist, a father. But tonight he would have to be both. "Lily is secure in the safe room," he said. "I've activated the inner shield around it." They had converted Alan's basement storage area into a protected space, using a combination of his technology and Zora's devices. If all else failed, Lily would survive. Zora checked her weapons: 3 plasma daggers, her phase shift pistol, and now, integrated into her suit, elements of Alan's shield technology. "Remember the plan," she said. "Stay behind my shield. Use the pulse disruptors only if they get past me." Alan picked up the modified weapon she had helped him build. "What if there are too many?" "There won't be," Zara replied with a confidence she didn't entirely feel. In her centuries as the Shadow, she had never faced a hunter squad directly. They were sent to eliminate rogues like her. The house lights flickered and died. The hunters had cut the power. "They're coming," Zara whispered. The first attack came through the front door, a concussive blast that shattered it to splinters. 2 hunters charged in, wearing the black armor of hegemony elite forces. One was draconian, like the assassin from the previous night. The other was Moravian, with 4 arms each holding a different weapon. Zara pushed Alan behind her and activated their joint shield. The hunter's first volley of shots hit the blue energy field and dissipated. "The rogue protects the human," the draconian growled. "How unexpected." "Stand down," Zara called out. "The human's technology is already backed up off-planet. Killing him achieves nothing." It was a lie, but the hunters paused briefly to consider it. That moment of hesitation gave Zara the opening she needed. She threw 2 small devices toward them. The devices exploded into clouds of paralyzing gas. The draconian stumbled and fell. The Moravian moved faster, jumping clear and firing again. The shots still couldn't penetrate the shield. More hunters entered through windows and the back door. The house was surrounded. Zora pushed Alan toward the laboratory. "Get to the control station. Activate the exterior shield." As Alan ran, a hunter appeared in his path. Without thinking, Alan fired his weapon. The pulse hit the hunter in the chest, sending them flying backward. Alan looked shocked at what he had done. "Keep moving," Zara shouted, engaging 2 hunters at once with her plasma daggers. The fight moved through the house. Furniture splintered. Walls cracked from missed shots. Zara fought with all her centuries of skill, but she was outnumbered. A shot grazed her shoulder. Another hit her leg. She kept fighting, determined to give Alan time to reach the lab. From the basement came a scream. Lily's scream. Zara felt something she had never experienced before: pure terror. A hunter must have found the safe room. Ignoring her wounds, she raced toward the basement. 2 hunters stood before the safe room door, trying to break through the shield protecting it. With a roar of fury, Zara attacked them both. Her daggers cut through armor. Her claws tore at vulnerable spots. She fought not with her usual cold precision, but with desperate rage. When both hunters lay motionless, Zara opened the safe room door. Lily cowered in the corner, eyes wide with fear. When she saw Zara, she ran to her, wrapping small arms around the assassin's waist. "I knew you'd come," the child whispered. Something broke inside Zara, a wall around emotion she hadn't felt in centuries. She held Lily tight, blue blood from her wounds staining the child's clothes. "I will always protect you," she promised. From upstairs came a tremendous hum. The exterior shield was activating. Alan had reached the lab. Zara picked up Lily and ran toward the sound, knowing that their only chance was to reach Alan and complete their defense before the remaining hunters could stop them. Zara carried Lily up the stairs, her wounds slowing her pace. The remaining hunters were converging on the laboratory where Alan worked frantically at his control panel. The blue glow surrounded the house as the exterior shield began to form. "We need more time," Zora muttered, setting Lily down at the top of the stairs. "Stay hidden," she told the child, then rushed toward the lab. Two hunters blocked her path. One fired a pulse weapon that Zora barely dodged. The shot hit the wall behind her, leaving the smoking hole. Zora threw her last plasma dagger, catching one hunter in the shoulder. As they stumbled, she closed the distance and finished them with her claws. The second hunter swung a vibro blade toward her head. She caught their wrists, twisted, and used their own momentum to throw them through a window. In the lab, Alan typed commands into his system while deflecting attacks with a portable shield device. Sweat covered his face as he worked. "The system needs 30 more seconds to fully activate," he called when he saw Zora. She took a defensive position in front of him. "I'll give you 60. The hunter squad leader stepped into the doorway. Unlike the others, this one wore no helmet. Her face was Silurian, like Zora's. Blue skin, 3 eyes, the same species. "The famous shadow," the leader said, "betraying your own kind for these primitive humans. I found something worth protecting." Zora replied. The leader laughed. "The hegemony built you, Zora Vex. We can unmake you just as easily." She raised her weapon, but before she could fire, something hit her from behind. A small model of the solar system that sailed through the air and struck her head. Lily stood in the hallway, already reaching for something else to throw. The momentary distraction was enough. Zora lunged forward, tackling the squad leader. They crashed into equipment, fighting hand to hand. The leader was strong, possibly enhanced like Zora, but lacked her centuries of experience. As they fought, the blue glow of the shield grew brighter. Alan's voice called out, 10 seconds. The leader pinned Zora against a wall, hands around her throat. "Why throw away everything for them?" she hissed. Zora looked past her to where Alan protected Lily with his body, shielding her from the fight. In that moment, she saw something no weapon could defeat: love. Simple, human love. "Because they showed me how to live, not just survive," Zora replied, then broke the leader's hold with a move she had learned centuries ago. "Now, Alan," she shouted. Alan pressed the final command. The blue glow intensified, forming a perfect dome around the house. The remaining hunters outside fired at it, their weapons having no effect. Inside the dome, the squad leader made one final attack, lunging at Zora with a hidden blade. Zora dodged, caught her arm, and with one precise strike ended the fight. Silence fell. The attack was over. Alan rushed to check on Lily, holding her close. "Are you okay, sweetheart?" She nodded bravely. "I helped Ms. Zora fight the bad aliens." "Yes, you did," Zora said, limping toward them. Her wounds were serious, but her healing systems were working. She would recover. Alan looked up at the shield surrounding them. It worked. "They can't get through." "How long will it last?" Zora asked. "Days, weeks maybe, long enough to contact Earth authorities and explain everything." Zora nodded slowly. "The hegemony will retreat for now. They don't like witnesses, but they'll try again eventually." Alan's face showed determination. "By then, we'll have shared this shield technology with the whole planet. Earth will be ready." Lily took Zora's blue hand in her small pink one. "Are you going to stay with us now?" The question caught Zora by surprise. Stay. The concept was foreign to her. For centuries, she had moved from contract to contract, planet to planet. She had never stayed anywhere. Alan looked at her, the question in his eyes too. Zora began, then realized the truth. "I have nowhere else to go. The hegemony will hunt me forever now." "Then stay," Alan said simply. "Help us protect Earth. Help me raise Lily." "I'm an assassin," Zora reminded him. "I've killed hundreds." "You're also the woman who saved my daughter," Alan replied. "People can change." Lily tugged on her hand. Please stay, Ms. Zora. You can teach me to throw knives and stuff. Despite everything, Zora laughed. A real laugh, perhaps her first in centuries. Outside the shield, the sun began to rise. A new day, perhaps a new life. Yes, said the universe's greatest assassin as she squeezed the little girl's hand. I'll stay.